Well, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Zycel Sales and Solution Introduction Webinar here at Zycel. My name is Tri Nguyen. I'm one of the product managers and market development managers here at Zycel. Welcome. This webinar will be beneficial to you, new partners. Again, thank you for becoming a partner or looking at becoming a partner of Zycel. But we'll be talking about who Zycel is, what products and solutions that we offer for all of your networking needs. So we're here to be your networking ally. So let's join. Thank you again for joining us. This webinar will be recorded and can be viewed online at any time after it's been posted through our VAR portal. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A section that you find in the box there. We'll try to get to them if there's any questions at the end of the presentation if there's time. So let's go ahead and move forward here. A little bit about Zycel. So we've been in business since 1989, so about 28 to 29 years now of networking experience. We have over 1,500 employees serving over 150 markets worldwide. We've powered over 700,000 businesses with our solutions out of the 100 million devices that are globally connected using Zycel. We have products that fulfill all sorts of, needs. Really an end-to-end solution. We help customers connect and unlock their potential. So we have products in the telco space, DSL technologies, different types of DSLAMs, carrier, fiber switching, that kind of capabilities. Into the business networking section with security, wireless switching, and also in the connected home space as well. We also pride ourselves in our R&D capabilities. We have over 500 software and hardware engineers that kind of span across the globe, and about 150 technical support people, a lot of them as well here in the United States, really to deliver service and support for all aspects of networking technologies and switching, in wireless and security gateways, etc. Also, by having all of the R&D services within our organization, we have flexibility and control of a lot of the features, the functions, and the fixes that partners may feed back to us. So it's really valuable for you guys as partners to have that communications with us, giving us what the market needs, letting us know what your customers are dealing with or what you see the move for your to extend your business, to expand upon your business. But we have a full comprehensive portfolio, a whole range of products and solutions that work really end to end. It gives the user and yourself as a managed service provider or a partner a one network experience. You just have to deal with one vendor, one network solution. So we achieve this by doing a lot of different innovative integrations that combine this with a series of technologies to achieve secure, ease of use experience for both the IT and the end users, or anyone who's maintaining these kinds of networking systems. On the security appliance side of things, we have devices like the USG series or Zywall range that deploy a series of solutions like antivirus, anti-spam, intrusion detection, etc., content filtering, pretty much anything you need to do with networking security is part of its feature set, as well as IPsec VPN, using some of the latest encryption technologies. On the switching side, we have a wide range of products, for any kind of application, whether it's a simple, basic kind of networking, plugging in ports, or fully managed complex networks that, for your infrastructure, including layer 2, layer 3 switches. On the wireless side, we have all sorts of wireless technologies that are also integrated within our gateways to help you to provision, to control them, but using technologies like smart antenna for high density, high capacity kind of wireless deployments. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is very important within our product services there. Gateways for hospitality, kind of hotspot gateways that they give you the terms of service and billing kind of functionality. We have those, as well as a full range of networking management. So if you're not tied to a specific a network management software, we have cloud solutions. We have standalone VM solutions as well for you to be able to manage larger networks. So I'm going to dive a little bit into our security side of things. There's some stats that are out there. Threats, according to Symantec, 76% of the scanned websites that are out there are have some sort of malware or potential vulnerabilities. And Google also reported that 32% of increased hacking, hacked sites as well. So there's a lot of malware that's in the news, a lot of those kinds of vulnerabilities that are all also out there. And you may be doing business in PCI compliance, HIPAA, et cetera, that have to deal with all these kinds of vulnerabilities. 43% of cyber attacks are aimed at small businesses, and that's the problem too. Is they may not have the IT resources to manage these kinds of threats. So how do they do that? They depend on you as partners to picking the right solution to protecting them from those kinds of network attacks. In fact, every 40 seconds, there's some sort of ransomware attack that hits a company. So it's estimated there are about 4,000 ransomware attacks every day that affect businesses in a negative way. 81% of the data breaches happen because they don't have some sort of system that can detect that. They don't have anything in place to kind of prevent that as well. Most times with data breaches, people don't protect themselves until they are attacked. So something that you as a partner to them is to help educate them on these kinds of threats so that it's more of a proactive approach rather than a reactive. Ransomware attacks have increased by 36% in 2017, and that's not going to get any easier or any less, especially now. There are literally ransomware as a service provided for anyone who wants to create ransomware for a monthly charge. You can do that. It's pretty incredible that exists as a service. So how do we protect ourselves, or how do we protect the businesses that you may be partnering with? And that's using our cloud or our security gateway, which can be either used in the cloud or the USG VPN gateway platform that's in the standalone kind of situations. So our unified security gateways, which is our USG, is our next generation firewall. They can be managed again on different types of series. So it depends on the focus that you are deploying into the different types of applications or requirements of the customer. There is a product fit for those kinds of things. Each one of those solutions that you see here. So we have a cloud managed firewall solution, which is our NSG, that's controlled in our Nebula cloud solution. The VPN series is if you're more focused about connecting site to site VPNs for businesses or remote access. The Zywall series is kind of along that same path as the VPN series. Or if you're looking for the full UTM, which is that unified threat management, the antivirus, intrusion detection, content filtering, all the security things that you need in a small business to all in one box. That's our USG series. So talking a little bit about our USG series, since that's the kind of the highest form of protection that we offer within our product portfolio. That's where really what we want to push. We want your customers, we want the businesses that are out there to be protected against the same internet that these enterprises are protecting themselves against, right? We're all under that same internet. Some of the features that the USG series provides for us is content filtering 2.0. It can now block HTTPS, so secure encrypted web pages, the websites by the category. So you don't need the SSL inspection to scan all of those websites in order to block it. You may have encountered some of the content filtering services that are out there, or some other vendors where if you just have content filtering, it will kind of fail if they go to an encrypted site. And of course, now with Facebook and Google all push towards a encrypted web page, those ones will bypass most content filterings. In fact, that's one of the ways that people have been using all these years to get past any sort of content filtering. So we're able to block that now based on HTTPS domains. And also we support safe search. So if you're doing a school or some places that may be sensitive on when you go to Google and you do an image search or et cetera, or a content search, it can automatically flag the search results to be safe searched. So it's not no inappropriate or flagged inappropriate content will show on that. So that's very helpful in that. We have a robust VPN built into it, to the device. So high throughput IPsec supports L2TP as well as SSL VPN for really flexible deployment if you have remote access, or you're doing site to site, connectivity between offices, or you're doing as a managed service where you're connecting to the site using a VPN in order to do the remote desktop, things like that. We we really encourage you to use VPN to do that, so it's much more secure rather than punching holes through the firewall and getting access in. Multi-WAN load balancing. So this is really in this kind of class of product. You're talking about a $200 to $250 box on the low end of a USG that supports multiple internet connections, multiple WANs that can do load balancing, failover situations. So really that great benefit even in that kind of low price point, bringing that enterprise kind of function to the small business space to give them that high availability that they're really looking for, or even just load balancing a higher bandwidth kind of connection that you can get now, cable modem service, etc. Easy mode. So if you're new to Zycell, we do have wizards and stuff through our lower end models, our 40s and 60s, that allow for you to kind of get up to speed on the configuration of the USG to do a lot of the main kind of configurations of the device. Application intelligence is important as well. It's able to identify, control, and block over 3,000 applications. So you're not just blocking a port, which we know there are a lot of applications that can just go through the port 80, use some sort of common ports in order to get out to the internet. We're able to actually detect that, hey, this is a Skype packet, or this is a Facebook packet type for an application, and be able to make decisions on it and block it. So it's quite a very granular kind of functionality that allows you to really kind of tweak your security. Also, kind of a little known fact, our products, our USG also comes built in with a integrated wireless controller, meaning that you can take any of our business class access points, deploy them within the network, and be able to use the USG to provision them, configure them, manage them, all within one interface of the USG itself. So you don't need a separate controller for that function. We have a promotion coming up soon that you'll be seeing, where we will further allow for you to have more access to those controller functions off the bat. High availability, that's very important. If you're looking for hardware high availability, you have two products sitting together in the more advanced feature, the higher end models. So in case one hardware fails, then the other one will automatically take over. Link aggregation, being able to put multiple link ag ports together to get a higher pipe going through to your servers or to uplink to other switches, etc. Again, managing up to 66 access points. Up to now, I think it goes to 512 access points that we've integrated with our latest firmware. SSL packet inspection. So if you have any applications that may need to really inspect the traffic that's going through that may be encrypted, we have that capability on those types of applications. High Availability Pro is a new function that we added. It allows for you to do still that hardware high availability, but we have a link port that goes between the two devices that share literally like an active-active kind of availability. So in case one of them does go down, the other one takes over, but you don't have to rebuild tunnels, you don't have to rebuild sessions. All of your MAC tables and ARP tables are all copied between the two. So it's literally like you just had an easy swap. So within just a couple milliseconds, the product will switch over and the service will continue. And then in our these advanced series models, which is our USG 110 and above, they have what we call hotspot management. So it's a license that you can add as an add-on to the device to give you the terms of service, guest billing, or guest access functionalities. That hotspot, the thing that you're used to when you go to a public Wi-Fi, that auto redirect portal that says, hey, agree to these terms of services, blah, blah, blah. I can get out to the internet. You can click that. Or we also have integrated now with Facebook Wi-Fi. So you can use a Facebook to use your for that location and log in via Facebook to get authenticated out to the internet. So really, Zycell offers some of the best total cost of ownership, especially over against our competitors. So if you look at some of our competitors, we're actually 49% more cost effective, kind of over that 3-year span, because they charge for the services, et cetera. So we're already cost effective, but on top of that, we offer free firmware upgrades for the life of the product, lifetime hardware warranty, free support with no support contracts. So that's even more savings that you get, that you don't typically think. If you're just trying to compare hardware to hardware, like the licenses to licenses, they're already going to be cost effective. But yet now you add over on top of that, that we don't have those kinds of extra costs. That's savings to your customer. So winning bids that way, But on top of that, you could be offering that kind of management service, the warranty or support contract on top of that, and that would be all of your margin, not nothing, no cost to you to provide that service. Of course, the whole platform itself is kind of built on recurring profits for you guys as partners. So being able to use myzicel.com as kind of the licensing portal allows for you to manage all of your customers in a view that gives you, you can see when certain services are expiring for that customer, be able to purchase new licenses and input those license keys, et cetera, to extend those license expiration dates. Make sure, though, if you are a partner and you're signed up as our partner program, there's a link at the top of the MyZicel page that says request for reseller review. You want to click that button to make sure that we can get the process going. What it allows for you to do is then you get listed as a VAR partner that customers can select, but more importantly, any of the partners that you put underneath your account, you can then manage them kind of in a tiered, a more kind of organized way as the top level, so that you can manage your customers' firewalls that are maybe registered to them. So you can handle that. We've been certified for 15 years straight through ICSA, their certification process. That means that our product is compatible with firewall, VPN, IPsec, all of that, with any other vendors that are also ICSA certified. So we're actually one of the few vendors that even have this kind of history to have 15 years straight of this kind of certification. So we're really proud of that. We also utilize independent experts, in the field. We've partnered with Bitdefender to provide the antivirus services. The anti-spam and content filtering is provided by Siren. The intrusion detection and the application intelligence, all the signatures are based on, are provided by Trend Micro. Whereas a lot of the other competitors, they'll just do stuff in-house. So what we feel is that we're utilizing our top partners to providing those signatures. They do what they do best. And so we're just taking advantage of what they do best in implementing those signatures in our product. And these signatures are updated several times a day. You can set and configure the device to check for them up to every hour. So you're always kind of going to catch any 0-day, all the top threats that may be out there. So you get the latest kind of threat protection out there, especially, new viruses or new threats, security holes that come out. Even the VPN filtering, in the news right now, our product now already has a signature that can block against it, even though it in and itself is not vulnerable, as far as we know. We're able to block, kind of access to like a Netgear or a D-Link, a router, through the signature, based on some of those behaviors that virus or that malware is doing. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the product or security products, but also see what kind of UTM services we offer, a little bit more detail, go to onesecurity.com. It's a Zicel hosted site that provides you with updates on the intrusions, virus updates, information, but more importantly for a new partner, guides and troubleshooting kind of applications. Our tech support has created a lot of standard operating procedure documents that will walk you through, a lot of the typical things like how to set up best practice for UTM, how to implement different scenarios for VPN, and many other kind of applications like port forwarding, et cetera, that you might just want to, look through and, take a quick glance on, be able to get your learning curve like up real quick. Or if you just have a specific kind of scenario that you're looking at implementing, this will get you up to speed very quickly on how to do it. And then once you have that configuration and once you've learned how to do it, the next few times it's quite easy after that. You can either create a cookie cutter config that you've downloaded and saved out, and then you could just apply it to your next solution deployment. So some of on the management side of the security, it's interesting there as well. We have some products that we've released. Secure Reporter provides analysis and reporting in the cloud, in a kind of a cloud service. Secure Manager is more encompassing. It allows for you to do like auto provisioning, managing the device, and you get some of the alerting functionalities. And then Secure Deployer is a piece of that. It's made for deployments of networks that are like 50 networks, et cetera, or 50 devices. So Secure Manager, the difference between that and Secure Deployer, Secure Manager can support up to like 1,000 devices. It's built on a VM, so you have to install that on a VM. It's capable of doing group managements, and it gives you the full range of configuration of the device itself, including CLI script capabilities. The Secure Deployer is made for more of that small, medium business that you're trying to deploy up to, let's say, 50 devices. There's no extra hardware costs because it's implemented within the USG device itself. So basically, imagine the firewall is now communicating to other firewalls that you put within its group, configurations for like VPN, et cetera. So allows for you to update scenarios and fix scenarios pretty easily. We've also recently launched our VPN series model. These are focused on the security for VPN. So there's faster throughput speeds. There's also for the first time in kind of a Zywall product, SFP interfaces. So if you're looking at taking fiber direct, you have a service provider that gives you fiber. You can directly put it through an SFP. And on this SFP slot here and terminate that as the WAN. Higher VPN tunnel numbers, higher max throughput capabilities on it. So the performance is a lot higher. It's almost up to 4 times faster VPN-wise than the USG series. It's also made for that easy deployment, be able to use Secure Deployer, et cetera, to set up VPN tunnels and also manage and see the health of those through the GUI itself. The solution also comes and includes the content filtering and the GeoIP enforcer. I didn't talk about that function, but literally it just can block, IPs of countries, for if you want to block the entire of Asia traffic, you can do that through that functionality. Also it includes AWS, so Amazon Web Services, VPC, and I'll talk about that. And also, like I mentioned earlier, Facebook Wi-Fi for hotspot. So it's really targeted towards a hybrid VPN design, being able to support SSL, IPsec, LCTP. So that should cover all of your remote people, your site-to-site access, your mobile devices. Everything can be covered to go headquarters or through branch offices, et cetera. So we really give you a technology support and using the latest encryption technologies available as well. VPN high availability is another function that we've added in our products that allow for not only, so in the event of a specific WAN maybe going down, you can use it to fail over, but you also get an added benefit of load balancing. So you can load balance multiple WAN connections, VPNs, kind of getting an overall better throughput to these remote sites. So you're able to do that. So it gives you better capacity there. But in case of WAN going down, we're able to fail over to another one, to another gateway interface so that you can get to, still get to the remote office. So we have those functions built into the product at no extra cost. So really a boost, it's all there for, reliability. We all know that when we have connectivity issues, either to the internet, which can be then addressed by the multiple WAN, or if you have a VPN application that's going to your servers in the central, if those connections go down, productivity pretty much goes to a standstill. So that's very important to be able to provide that for your customers. So we've integrated also AWS VPC, being able to connect to the virtual private cloud. So what is VPC? It's really a sub cloud that's inside the Amazon service as a public cloud. You're able to create basically instances of servers inside that VPC. So it's kind of like you have a connection to a like almost like a VPN or VLAN to another network right within it, but it's hosted in the cloud. There's things that you need in order to make that connection to it. You can't just really just access it directly necessarily. You actually need to have some sort of VPC gateway. So Zycel actually is now listed as an Amazon, listed by Amazon. We went through a whole series of certification, go through their stringent testing of making sure that our product is reliable and stays online, makes the connections, keeps the connectivity up. And so we're able to pass that, and we're listed now on Amazon as one of the few. There's only a handful, 10 or 15 maybe vendors, but all the top vendors are there as well. But Zycel is there with our product in our USG and VPN series. So it's a great accomplishment of our team and R&D team and working with them to getting that accomplished. So If you have any of those kinds of applications, this is the product you would be looking for. So switching is very important. It's literally the backbone of any network. I know that when we're deploying a lot of solutions, it's all about wireless. People are just constantly saying, hey, well, I'm just deploying wireless. But in the back-end system is a switch network. So that infrastructure needs to be solid, needs to be reliable, needs to have a lot of things that you want to take into account, make sure that you have access to. So we provide a full range of switch products in our portfolio, from unmanaged, web managed, smart managed switches here, you'll see, or all the way to the fully managed switch portfolio. This is actually where we recommend our partners start when they propose any kind of solutions to the customer, just because it has that full CLI capabilities as well as web managed functionality. It gives you that flexibility, kind of the full suite of SNMP if you're doing network management and kind of health check and those kinds of managed services. This is the best platform for it. You could go with some of the lower ones like our 1920 series, but we don't recommend going any lower than the 1920 series. But one important application, which is one of the biggest selling points of a switch now, especially all the applications that are out there, is power over Ethernet. So again, we provide within our full range of web managed, unmanaged switches with the PoE budgets, also smart managed, fully managed switches that have even more power within it. So you can see any range from 70 watts here all the way up to 1,000 watts. Additionally, we have smart, they could do layer 2, layer 2 plus with PoE, as well as 10 gig uplink versions as well. So if you're deploying any kind of application, it's really perfect for 11AC Wave 2 deployments, IP camera with pan tilt zoom that may be consuming a lot of power, or voice over IP deployments. We have a solution really to cover any kind of application that you're looking for. But not just that, we have more power that can power more PoE devices using our intelligent PoE consumption mode. So what is consumption mode? Well, there's two kind of sides of it, or there's two ways that you can power up a PoE device. One is using a classification mode. Classification mode is basically reserves the full wattage that particular device needs and gives them, let's say 15 watts. But with Zyxel Smart Power Mode, which is our consumption mode, we can actually intelligently monitor the PoE that is drawn from that device. And then we give that device just that, so that you save the budget. You're able to save the extra wattage on that port to be able to load balance to another port. So that in effect, you could power up more devices with our switch in consumption mode than other products that are out there in the market. We can also control the PoE on each port. So it allows for you to do scheduled reboots or a scheduled recycle, or let's say an AP looks like it might be down. You can turn on and off just that port and be able to recycle that AP and bring it back online. It can help, instead of having a truck roll go out there. You can schedule to be able for security. You can schedule powering down all of the access points. So let's say business hours, you can help to, with that business saying, okay, well, after 9 p.m., we're going to kill all of the APs so that nobody can sit outside in your parking lot and try to use Wi-Fi to hack in through your, into your network or anything like that. Just shut it all down, and then 6 a.m. or whatever time you have it scheduled, all the PoE ports come back online. So that's one advantage that you can use. So explaining a little bit how that, again, consumption classification mode. So let's say, for example, this particular access point, which is our WAC, it's our high-end 11AC with smart antenna. In classification mode, it's classified as using a class 4, which is the 802.3AT class, which defines the switch as a 30-watt consumption. So in a a smart PoE switch, a non-Zyxel switch, it would reserve 30 watts for that port, no matter what. But the actual consumption of this access point is only 16 watts. So that would, in effect, cause 14 watts to be kind of wasted, right? It's just reserved. It's not being used by anybody. But with consumption mode, you actually can then power 20. If you were powering up 20 devices or 20 of these access points, you'd only consume 320 watts of power, right, at that 16 watts, rather than 600 watts that it would cost you, which is over the max budget that we have on this particular switch. This particular switch would be, 375 watt or 380 watt switch. So in the 10 gig side of things, we have a range of products here as well. We have ones like our XS 1920s, which is all 10 gig copper ports, as well as 10 gig SFP plus ports combo. If you're looking for 10 gig uplinks, our XGS are all gigabit ports with 10 gig uplinks. So you can see the X just stands for 10 gig, like a 10, Roman numeral for 10. So that's where those comes into play. And then we have layer 3 switches that have gigabit with 10 gig uplinks as well, or full fiber, all fiber ports, or copper with fiber mixes for different kinds of maybe service provider applications. On the wireless side, there's a lot of technology that goes into play, and we're really proud about how our product, not only from a product portfolio standpoint, but the quality of the product and what really differentiates Zycel from other wireless vendors that are out there in this space. So we have a full array of products going from a cloud managed solution on the NAP series that uses Nebula, all the way up to standalone and also hardware controlled capabilities in the higher end models as well. So we have a again full array of products. It all depends on how you want to manage it. If you want to manage it, fully from a centralized location in the cloud, that's where our Nebula solution comes into play. If you're looking just as a basic cloud managed, and you don't have to want to pay, any kind of recurring, product cost, but still want to use the cloud, we also have a, free Nebula Flex version that can be either standalone or cloud, or we have a standalone product. Offering that you could just deploy it and forget about it. You can still manage it, but you manage it via web on a per device basis. Or you can use a controller. So some of the higher end models, like our 5000 series and above, they all support central management through a controller or through our USG series that we talked about earlier. But one of the things that we're really proud of is how our product is designed. If you ever have a chance to take a look at some of our competitor products, you'll see a drastic difference from what they have versus what Zycel does in our product. We've actually fine-tuned and refined how the product is made, what hardware pieces we use, as well as the shielding and things that we have in play. And that's why we can stand behind our access points with a lifetime warranty. It's because of the way that it's made and functions. As you can see here, the access points are on a, let me go back. The access points are, let me get a little mouse here. The access points are on, the antennas themselves are on a shield. You can see the shielding plate here. The components themselves are inside shielded grooves, metal plates on top of that to prevent PCB interference, and also shielding on the back plate as well to prevent products from interfering with each other. Of course, nowadays, that you're not just deploying just one access point in a environment where there's only that access point, right? That's impossible. I think even in our office, when I turn on my phone, I see about 40 SSIDs, and there's probably like 30 access points that are out there, right? So we deal with all that kind of interference all the time. So it's very important, critical that when you're deploying these kinds of applications with wireless, that the product itself is really made to handle that kind of situation. So what you'll see is a drastic improvement on interference on, and ultimately user experience, user throughput, coverage, etc., because of the way that we've designed the product. I talked a little bit about that Nebula Flex. We have a function within some of our product lines that allow for you to use it as a standalone now, and it comes with the ability to manage it within the cloud for free. So you can switch it over to the Nebula cloud management, and then you can always upgrade it as well to the professional series that gives you more functionality as well. So you're able to utilize one hardware platform to be able to use either non-cloud and cloud solutions. So the technologies that you see, goes from anywhere from wave AC wave 1 all the way to wave 2 with smart antenna capabilities as well. So we provide a full range. And so I wanted to cover a little bit about our smart antenna technology. This is one of the things that really sets us apart on the products that have the smart antenna. One of the things is co-channel interference. So what is co-channel interference? Just imagine co-channel interference as being kind of two motorways or highways coming together, merging together, but there are no signals, nothing, and you're just going. So the chances for collision is very high. So you're basically constantly getting all sorts of collisions coming in through the different clients in the wireless space, right? Everyone's trying to communicate with that access point. So some traditional ways to managing with it, with co-channel interference is to turn down the power. So you would kind of turn down the access point, power, but the problem is then you also turning down coverage as well. So that causes dead spots that might happen, even though the interference is beyond the actual coverage area, right? So you have to kind of balance between that so you don't lose the coverage. So that's not really a great way to doing it. And especially when you're having high density deployments where you're forced to put, 3, 4, 5 access points like in the same room just so that you have enough bandwidth to be able to provide for, 100, 150 people within that room, right? So how do you deal with that? So smart antenna does a few things. Smart antenna, using our access point with smart antenna, it increases capacity, it increases coverage, it reduces interference, and also does it in a very efficient way. So how does it work? So just think about a conventional omnidirectional antenna pattern, which is like on the left side here, or a directional antenna that is really focused, towards a particular section, right? A 90-degree directional will do that. Smart antenna actually uses a patented functionality. It scans for the interference, everything within the client. It uses and intelligently picks one of 700 optimized antenna patterns within like 100 milliseconds and finds what is best. So if you have some sort of interference within the opposite side, it picks a pattern that is more forward facing, basically more focused onto the client. So again, it deals better with being able to hear the client as well as communicate with the client. So it really optimizes it. So it's different than beamforming because beamforming technologies actually require for the client to also have beamforming in order for you to get the benefits of that. So we are, with our smart antenna, we're product or device agnostic. So it doesn't matter what kind of technology, we're doing the work for the client, basically, to listen better, to speak louder, basically, to the client. So even when the client is moving as well. So the cycle repeats even as they are roaming between, the coverage area of that access point, or if they're moving to another access point, we're able to change our patterns and be able to lock into what is best, for that particular device at that moment in time. So what we did was we were approached by the University of Bruxelles in Italy, which is kind of like the MIT of Italy, and they did an independent study on the performance because they wanted to analyze and find out how smart antenna technology in general was beneficial, especially in the 11AC space and those kinds of deployments. So they took a bunch of vendors and put it under a test, and we actually were lucky enough to be one of those. Aruba was there, Ruckus and Cisco were there as well. And the only other, you can see the only other competitor that has that smart antenna technology or some sort of a smart antenna technology is Ruckus. So they were kind of looking at that and they wanted to see it and what the results were. So they actually did a lot of different tests. You can find out, you can just search for University of Bruxelles and Zycel on Google. You'll find the PDF white paper that they created on how the methodology, because what they were trying to do was how was the effects of 6 or 7 laptops moving from one coverage to another, how co-channel interference was affecting kind of that whole dynamics of it, the ever-changing kind of interference space, especially with co-channel interference. So some of the results, Zycel outperformed the competition actually by up to 70% in eliminating co-channel interference. And so that resulted in a much better total aggregate throughput of the whole system. So we're actually, proudly to be able to outperform that against some of these, great competitors. So we offer, again, that wide range of products, anywhere from 2x2 to 3x3 with smart antenna technologies. So really there's a fit for anything. We also include on-prem and centralized controller functions. So if you wanted to manage, 64 access points or up to 1,024 access points, you can do that through a controller. Again, if you don't need these kinds of, large numbers, you can always use the USG as well as a central controller, so you don't have to have a separate piece of hardware. But it all depends on how, you're doing the deployment, how you want to manage it. So the AP controller function that I mentioned that's on the USG series, it's pretty much across a lot of our gateway products, all of the USG, the hotspot UAGs, the SBG product line, as well as that NXC controller. So I wanted to take a little bit of time and just kind of cover what we've launched a couple of years ago, but is really taking traction now within the partner and managed service space, is our Nebula solution. This is our cloud solution. It's a whole portfolio that is made and geared towards a easy to use, easy to provision, easy to deploy, and then easy to manage, all within one kind of application that a partner can launch really very quickly. So it actually includes several pieces. The Nebula Control Center, which is in the cloud, that's the kind of the brains of the operation. It's where you log in to see your different customers, your different organization sites, etc. Be able to manage and see kind of the health of everything and be able to configure everything as well. And then it consists of pieces of hardware that goes onto the prem. Right, goes onto the customer site, the cloud access points, the cloud switches, and cloud gateways. And you can see, like, the naming conventions, it's pretty simple. NAP is a Nebula AP. A NSW is a Nebula switch, and a NSG is a Nebula security gateway. So it's pretty straightforward on which, but it's using and leveraging all the hardware and the technologies, the guts of it, as you saw earlier in our standalone products or in our managed products. So all of those hardware design things that we've taken into account, those are all inherited in here because it's the same, we're using the same design, but really tailored towards the cloud. And then on the Nebula side, the mobile device, being able to use that to add devices very quickly, get some information about your account as well. So I'll talk about that. So it allows, within mobile app, allows for you to do setup literally without even having to take it out of the box. So you're able to register the device via the app or by typing in the serial number, MAC address information that you find on the product package itself. The easiest way is just to log onto your app and log into your account and using the app. Use the QR scanner, scan on the box, choose the site that you want it to be part of, and then it's ready to go. You can then have your engineer guys, pre-configure the device before it is even online, so that then you're able to, once the product comes online, it's able to call home and get access to the configuration. So that really you can get up and running in minutes. You don't necessarily need a technical engineer guy who needs to go in the GUI and do configuration of the network. On-prem, you can just have either a install kit that gets sent there with some basic instructions on getting it online, or you have your more of your cabling guy or some guy who's not as technical as your high tier engineers be able to go and just be able to set up, plug in, power on these devices, plug in which ones go into what port, and be able to go up and running. So once it dials home, the Nebula Cloud will push the latest firmware to it. It will then get the latest configuration files that you've assigned to it for that site, and they all go online. I mean, just imagine you can go and deploy 10 access points, a switch, and a gateway. Go there, plug those in. Once you've plugged in all those APs onto the PoE switch, they all power up. They all dial home through that gateway out to the internet, onto the Nebula Cloud, and then in about 5 minutes or so, they have the latest firmware, and all of the APs are configured based on that site. So all the SSIDs that you've configured, your VLANs, whatever, can all be pre-configured already. And then more importantly is the visibility after that's all installed. You get access anywhere, anytime. So using a mobile device, using tablets, using your laptop, wherever you have internet connection, you have visibility to manage the network, be able to see alerts and alarms, etc. So really a great way of getting that post install residual as well. So you're able to provide an actual active managed service to your end customers, to be able to maintain their networks. And rather than a break fix kind of scenario, you're actively seeing, hey, these access points are having either too much traffic, or has no clients on it for some reason. Then you can take action and be able to troubleshoot through the Nebula Cloud. It gives you that zero-touch provisioning, like I mentioned. You're able just to install the products as long as it has internet access. They come online, they get the configurations. It's built with multi-site management, so you can set up different organizations. So let's say you have a chain restaurant, you can set them up as an organization, and then in each organization you have a site. So each one of the locations that you have there. So you get that all in a single visibility. You can then use it and map it to even like a Google map. Or something like that, so that you can see, well, these are all the locations that I'm monitoring within that organization. So you can see that and get an overall view of the health status of the different sites. So that's really important to be able to get that visibility. So this is kind of the dashboard that you would see when you log on to that organizational site. It will tell you the top applications that are being used, the top clients that are currently using the network. You can see how many clients are online, et cetera, APs and their health as well. So really kind of giving you that real-time summary of that, of what's going on within that network. Like I mentioned before, Nebula has a couple of options. One is the Nebula free license. People always ask, what happens if the subscription for my Nebula expires? What happens? A lot of competitors will basically stop the product from even working until you renew or until you send payment. What happens in our product is that it actually goes down to what we call Nebula free license. So there's only a little bit of a difference. A lot of it is some of the managed capabilities that the auto provisioning capabilities are turned off or basically are grayed out, so you can't select them per se until you get the professional pack renewed. But the hardware will keep working. The current configurations will still be there, so it would be as if nothing happened. You just kind of you'll notice you won't have some management, higher level management functions that you would want to have if you're actually providing a service. Or if you're providing it as, I just need some sort of visibility, some basic configuration functions, that free could fit for you. But as a managed service provider or as a partner doing a managed service, we encourage you to get to that professional pack. But we also offer the professional pack as a yearly license. So every year you can renew from those sites or those organizations. It's a license per node, so per device. So if you have one access point, you need one license. If you have two, you need two. So, but we also offer a lifetime pack. So pretty much there's a cost to that. But once you paid for a lifetime for that product within that organization site, they have access to the Nebula for the lifetime. So even if you change out the product, the hardware later on because you had to replace it or you changed it to the new technology, it would still have lifetime within that organization. So really, take a look at that, especially if you're providing a managed service to a customer and you say, hey, I'm going to do a 3-year contract with you, and you sign a contract with them. It's more beneficial for you to get that one-time license and just have that whole site ready, and you'll never have to pay for that license again for that customer. So it's real beneficial in that regard. So a lot of the other notifications, you'll see the free side here. There's less in terms of like organization, information, cloning, sites, etc. That's one of the main advantages that when I talk to partners, some of the benefits of Nebula is, for example, you can make, once you've kind of standardized, let's say you're doing a doctor's office, and that consists of an access point or maybe a couple access points, a switch, and a gateway. Once you've come up with the configuration of that doctor's office, you can actually create it as a template. And then when you go and deploy a new doctor's office and it's the same exact configuration, you can clone that configuration to this new site and then be able just to tweak it. If there's a static IP or if there's other servers that are on there, you can just tweak it. But there's a baseline cookie cutter config that you've already made and you've tested, et cetera, and you've known it's good. That's a real good advantage for you to be able to clone that and be able to go up and running. It makes your installation, a zillion times faster rather than have to reconfigure everything all over again. One One of the questions that was asked, which easy to answer right now, are the Nebula license sold direct or through distribution? It's sold through both, but as a partner, you want to go through our distribution channels or through our a license portal through Digital River to get your discounts, so that you can get your partner pricing through those kinds of avenues. But either way, we can go through direct through Digital River or through distribution. So let's take a look at, we just did a case study with one of our partners, and there's a video testimony that I wanted to show you. Let me go ahead and optimize this for a video clip sharing here. So now you should be able to see and hear this, so enjoy.
Springbrook Assisted Living is a facility for elderly people. It is an 80-bed facility. We do employ about 50 staff members that help take care of them. The network connectivity.
Sorry about that. I glitched that, so let's start over again.
Springbrook Assisted Living is a facility for elderly people. It is an 80-bed facility. We do employ about 50 staff members that help take care of them. The network connectivity is very important. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't be able to successfully run our building here.
Point of care is all the services that the nurses physically go and type in every single little detail that we would need. The EMR system shows all the medications that the physician wants us to pass to the resident. It'll show the exact time, the exact dose, what it is, and how we give it to the resident.
When a resident presses their button, whether it's they need a glass of water or if they fell and broke their hip, it then goes through the wireless connection and then it comes to our phones. So we see it and we need to have a wireless connection that is fast enough to support that.
Digital Bay started in 2010, and we started off as a telecommunications company, primarily doing telephone equipment, and we've evolved into much more sophisticated equipment. We're putting in Wi-Fi, fiber optic cabling, data cabling, door entry systems. We also install memory care systems like here at the Assisted Living Center in La Crescent, Minnesota, and it's a WanderGuard system so that people with memory issues have a tag. They cannot leave the property without assistance.
They had major issues with their local network. The Wi-Fi every day was going down. We were able to actually replace those access points with the new Zyxel Nebula access points. And once we did that, their entire network changed. I mean, they had connectivity throughout the building. Nurses' laptops were not disconnecting. It's been just night and day between other products we've used in the past. You'd have to put multiple access points of theirs throughout the buildings, and still you'd have to add an additional one because it just wasn't powerful enough to send out a signal. And on top of that, we love the cloud-based solution, so we can actually access everything via the cloud. We can make changes to their network without having to be on site. They're sleek, they're not some ugly box on the ceiling. They look good, they work well, and they're easy to install.
Deploying the AP is super seamless and simple. You scan the QR code and then you just install it after that.
We also love the engineering support. Every time I've called to talk to an engineer, they've tried every which way to make something happen.
So the price is right. We really like their capability to have a licensing solution that is a lifetime license. Most companies don't give you a lifetime license, and that is transferable to the next product you buy.
It's way different than anything else that I've seen in the marketplace.
Zyxel is the best company out there.
Well, thank you to the folks at Digital Bay for all that. You know, it's great testimony on how our products is being used to change, you know, like different aspects of, you know, especially in this living facility, just the dependability that they need on wireless in general for their day-to-day, as well as to managing their customers that are there on the facility. So we're proud to be there and partnering with them on these kinds of solutions. So if you're looking and interested in our partner program, if you haven't already signed up, please feel free to. Our Zicel partner program, consists of kind of 3 tiers. When you sign up, you start actually at the silver tier, so you get that 16% discount at our distribution based on your distribution price. You have access to then deal registration, so that's very important. If you're a partner and you're looking at doing a project, you want to deal reg it. It gives you the best pricing through Zicel, if any other, and it also protects your deal in case another Zicel partner tries to bid on it. You'll have basically the guaranteed best pricing for that application. You have access to all the webinars, again, free tech support for our product. You also have access to our leasing partner as well. We have partnership with Leaf Finance, allows for you to do leasing options within it, so you don't have to invest all your capital and investment in the beginning. You can just get a leasing option for any kind of solutions that you deploy. When you get to the higher tier, your gold tier, you get that 20% discount at distribution, being able to have then access to different lead referrals, access to our sales engineer to help you through project that initial call with maybe even the customer or with you to kind of decide what kind of equipment is best for you. So for that particular application, so we talk through that, help you on what is best and give you a solution for that. The qualifying sales on it is actually very low. For a half-year period to stay within silver, you just have to do $6,000 in product. If you want to move to the gold, it's only $12,000. So literally, just a very small entry barrier for you to get to that top tier, that's where I suggest for you to go. Just gives you the best support, gets you obviously the extra margin discounts there. So as long as you're maintaining there and continue to be partnered with Zicel, those advantages will always be there. So find out more, you can go to vars.zicel.com. That's our partner site. Go there to either sign up, or if you already have a login, go there to log in and get some more information, as well as access to some of the other webinars that we've done in the past. So go there. So at this time, if there's any questions, again, please use the the Q&A section to ask any questions, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. One question was regards to the licensing. What happens when, let's say, for example, you have the situation where a user or maybe your customer has one access point, and you're looking at deploying in that site a second access point, but he's already been using for, let's say, 6 months. What happens there in terms of the expiration date of the access point? So what actually happens within the Nebula is if you add a secondary access point within the same site, it actually will kind of not like load balance, but it averages out, kind of like a weighted average between what's left and what's there. So for example, if let's say you have one access point that has 6 months left on it, and then you add a new access point that has a 1-year license, what happens is the total of the whole site for the 2 access points becomes a 9-month expiration date. So it changes when the whole expiration date of the whole system is. So we call that co-termination. We also have the ability to then, if you want to, you can use the calculator to decide, hey, I want this whole solution to end or expire at December 31st. Let's say because you're charging the customer, by the year or whatever, how you've planned it out. We can calculate how much, basically how much licensing credits you'll need in order to get that termination date that you want. So then you're able to actually purchase licenses in kind of almost like a point system to apply to that whole system. So you don't have to get 3 licenses of this and 2 licenses of that and try to load balance it yourself. We have a calculator that will handle all of that. One of the questions they have is, does the Nebula series have higher tiered equipment? For example, that's equivalent to like a USG 1100 or 1900. Currently, that's in the plans. Right now, the highest tier that we have, we just launched our NSG 200, which is equivalent to our 110 USG 110 USG 210 series. And also because of the excuse me, it's doing not quite as much in depth as the full USG series right now. You're able to support a lot more customers than you would normally. Also, one thing to note, by the end of this month, we'll have actually a firmware upgrade that allows for you to, within Nebula, have access to the antivirus and content filtering services. That's all included within that security pack. So if you already have that deployed with the security pack enabled, you'll gain access to that functionality right away. And then any new products that you buy after that, they'll have just the latest firmware, which will already give you that within that same pricing structure already. Even the renewal licenses, we call the renewal licenses just a security pack. So once that's available, that same exact license will apply for both the EV, the IDP, the application control, the antivirus, and content filtering all in one. So we just have one single license that just does it all for you. It's just for ease of use. Another question somebody had was the USG licenses available as yearly or other terms or other timeframes? So the USG, there's only a few services that are yearly services on the USG platform, which is our antivirus, intrusion detection, our content filtering, and anti-spam. Those are all what we call our UTM. So you can buy them individually a la carte, or you can buy them as a single yearly subscription as a bundled. So it's a one key that will activate all four of them. That's what we have. Now there's also some additional add-ons like hotspot management that we saw earlier, being able to do a yearly subscription to give that functionality. But the hotspot management also has a perpetual, which is unlimited, so you can unlock, the product function for the life of that product as well. So again, we're giving you different options. One thing I always tell our partners is like the USG series or even Nebula, etc. It's all about that platform where you're really trying to seed that within a customer, because once you get it into the customer, whether it be, let's say, content filtering is their main function, you're able to go back and sell them on the intrusion detection, the ransomware, malware protection, and then if they want hotspot gateway functionality, you can do that. You can add on that as well, right? So there's a full array of services that you can then offer to your customer. As long as you have that product seeded within there, you can do it remotely and turn on these services and manage them remotely without having to go out there and redo or reinstall anything within that. As long as you've gotten the product into their prem, you can then sell a lot of these different services. So that's recurring revenue to you. It's upsell opportunities for partners. So we're all for that. Another last question, I think, was does Zycel offer any kind of technical training? So Zycel offers webinars like this. We also run technical webinars on different topics. You can find information and videos, short videos as well on that One Security website. It tells you how to do things, how to, if you're looking for that self-education, that's probably the best bet. A lot of times it's hard to get you and your engineers like all in the same room or all in the same webinar to try to sit for an hour or so to go over specific configurations. But of course, if you have any kind of specific topics, once you kind of looked at I really need how to kind of increase my knowledge on how to deploy VPN. Could you set up a webinar? We can make a general webinar that's more focused on VPN. Invite you guys to join, record it. Then you guys can, everyone can then watch the video as well. If you pass it on to other team members, we can provide that through that. All right, I think that's it for now. Thank you again for being a Zycel partner or looking to become a Zycel partner. Again, my name is Tri. If you have any questions, you can reach out to your sales rep. You can either also email me if you'd like. It's Tri, it's TRI at Zycel.com. I'm not afraid to answer any of your emails if you have any, or I'll just redirect it to our support team or to our sales if I can't answer them. But again, thank you for choosing Zycel as a partner. We hope to be your networking ally and to be able to support you through this coming year of business. So I look forward to helping you with that. So if you have any questions, again, please send messages. We'll see if we could get the presentation available online. I just have to send it through our marketing, get that checked out, and then we'll have it posted through our probably through our partner portal page. So again, thank you very much. Have a good day, rest of your day. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.